In today's video, we're going to take a look at PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and Fortnite and see the similarities between the two games and talk about everything that is ongoing at this moment in time with the whole copycat situation. Enjoy! What is happening, everybody? My name's Seven and welcome to this PUBG versus Fortnite video. And I really do want to say something before we get into this video. I enjoy both. I played Fortnite when it first came out and I also played Battlegrounds when it first came out. I enjoy both of the games just as much, but for different reasons. And let's get straight into my opinion and the opinion of everybody in the community and what's actually going on between Fortnite and PlayerUnknown and the developers that are fighting between one another. So in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, when you first arrive into the game, we have a loading menu where it loads in up to 90 to 100 players. Once they have this player count, the game then starts to launch and you have a minute to prepare yourself. People load in at different times during this actual process and they're able to go to different tables and pick up different weapons. Now in Fortnite, they've copied the same kind of aspect, apart from they have this starter island that has the features of Fortnite. So you have some of the towers, some of the forts, you also have some of the rubber tires that you can jump up and down on. You can pick some weapons up and you can shoot around and go crazy with them. All of which in both situations, neither of the weapons actually go into the game itself. It's just a loading section just to wait for 100 players to get into the game, and the same thing happens in both games. So it's exactly the same. Once the game's loaded in and everybody's ready and everyone's pumped and everybody's went through that loading menu, you will be thrown into a plane. Now in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, this is an AC-130, a humongous plane that will fly across the map in a random position. So it'll just go maybe top right to top left or bottom left to top mid. It will fly across this large vast map, and in Fortnite the same thing happens, apart from you're in like some kind of magical bus, which to be honest looks pretty cool. Now it follows the same concept, and to be honest there isn't any other way I can imagine how you could be thrown in above a top of like an amazing map unless you eradicated a vehicle and you all dropped from a center point and you could disperse from a skydive. I don't know other than that like how you could do this. So Fortnite definitely copied the same system. Instead they have a floating bus and it looks mad, and it just has the same effect of, hey, let's cross this part of the map. So in another way, PlayerUnknown and Fortnite are exactly the same in that aspect. So the whole beginning launch of the game is identical. You can even see the starter island in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds from the AC-130, and in Fortnite you can see the starter island from your magical bus ride. I have to admit, the Fortnite jump from this bus all the way down into the map, absolutely epic. It's so fast paced, it's adrenaline pumping, and I love it. The animation of this looks brilliant, and to be honest I do prefer it over PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, but you could never cross compare really the two, simply because you couldn't have that same aspect with PlayerUnknown because of the animation style look to Fortnite. So in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds you jump out and you'll dive down, you have a speedometer and you're able to see how fast you're going. This will help you kind of change the direction that you're heading in. Now in Fortnite it's a little bit different. So at a certain height in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, a parachute will naturally pull. You have no choice. It will prevent you from falling to your death. Otherwise a lot of players would forget to pull it and they would just fall straight to their death and instantly die. So this automatically pulls, but you have the choice to pull this earlier. Now you only get one pull because logically you pull your parachute, that's it. You can't cancel your parachute either until you're on the ground. So in Fortnite it's a little bit different. You're given a glider, so this glider will allow you to be open. You can open this at any point. You can open it really high in the air, or you can wait until that lock-on point where you automatically have no choice but to open it up. Now instead of being able to use the speedometer in the direction that you're facing in the parachute when you're jumping in PlayerUnknown to kind of go, okay, I want to do a straight dive to go straight down as fast as I could, or I want to go like 3 kilometers across the map. This changes in Fortnite. Instead of that, you have this glider, which is your parachute and your movement. So using this glider allows you to cross the map further if you wish, or if you want to, you can just go straight down and then wait until the glider automatically opens. So in a sense, they kind of follow the same format of like there is a tool to allow them to go down quicker and to save them from falling to their death, and another tool to allow them to traverse across the landscape much faster. Once you're on the ground, everything is pretty much exactly the same, apart from a couple of things which I will mention that Fortnite does very differently. In PlayerUnknown, the idea is that you need to land as fast as you possibly can, especially in those dense areas where there's a lot of players, and you need to find a weapon, whether that's a pistol all the way up to a sniper rifle. It's entirely up to you what you grab, or is it? Because it's RNG. But so is Fortnite. Fortnite is just as RNG as PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and you can get epic weapons or you can get very standard weapons. Now the systems work differently because all in Fortnite you have the standard system that comes from the story, where you have different quality of different weapons. In PlayerUnknown, it is just whether the weapon is more powerful and more effective. That's the only difference in whether it's good or bad. But the system of the looting works exactly the same. You have to land down, find shotguns, assault rifles, pistols, you have to find a backpack, etc. You don't have that same system exactly with Fortnite, but the looting and the RNG definitely exists. You have to land in and find your weapons. You can smash things up and find items, or they could be laying in the open inside of a building or a shed or a warehouse, and you can then also do the same with players. So in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, you kill a player, you're able to go into their loot and see everything that they have collected. From this, you can just pick up bits and bobs and take whatever you wish, basically, for as long as you've got enough space. Once you die or you're killed in Fortnite, the same thing happens. You disperse your items. Instead of them being hidden inside of a backpack, they go straight onto the floor, and it looks pretty cool when you kill somebody. So this pops out and you can go over and you can collect whatever you wish. I prefer the looting system, however, on PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, because you can see everything in a simple list on screen and go, I want this, this and this. Fortnite's a little bit different, where it's just scattered all over the floor. So I picked up some items I didn't like. But the concepts, once again, of looting are pretty much exactly the same. Land in and hopefully RNG is on your side. Vehicles only exist in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. There are no vehicles other than the glider and that magical bus that we discussed earlier on in Fortnite. But in PlayerUnknown, we use motorbikes and we use UAZs and we use buggies and so much more. There's some cool stuff coming soon. But with Fortnite, there is no need for these vehicles because the map seems to be a lot easier to move across, and I'm not sure why that actually is. But once again, there is a pressure that makes you move. So with PlayerUnknown, these vehicles will genuinely save your life so much. But Fortnite, you've just got to start moving early. But the wall of death, which is another pointer I will mention in a moment, is not the same in Fortnite as it is in PlayerUnknown. So what I mean by that is in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, there's this big blue wall of death that compresses players into a centerpiece. So as time passes on, this barrier goes, hey, I'm coming in 5 minutes time. You've got 5 minutes to get into the area that's playable, or I'll kill you, basically. So you're like, okay, I'll listen to you. I'll get on a bike, or I'll walk there, or guess what? I'm already in the place, that's fine, and I'm in the playable area. That's grand. If you're caught out of it, it will kill you. But there are different speeds, so based upon which end of the actual side of the wall you are on, if you're on the side that doesn't have as very much distance between itself and the playable area, that will move slower. In the section where it's much larger and there's a vast area between the playable area and the border of the blue, it moves faster. Now in PlayerUnknown, that is awesome. Like, you know, it forces players who are miles away from the playable area to panic, and people who are close just to kind of go for a little bit of a stroll. In Fortnite, it feels like you're just strolling the whole time. The barrier is, of course, a killer, but it doesn't really change speed, not from what I've noticed. I seem to feel like it moves a lot slower and there's less pressure with it. So that's probably why there aren't any vehicles in the game, because you can actually get into the zone on foot. A concept that I really love in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is the compass. You can see this at the top of the screen, and this really does help you guide your teammates or call out enemies. So you hear shots, you can go, oh, south 180 degrees, you know, or you could say 360 that way, you know, and it really does help pinpoint where enemies are coming from, and it's really good for telling your teammates, hey, let's go there. Not only that, but when you place a marker on the map, you're able to see it in the compass, and when you place that, you can go, okay, let's just head that way. So you might be in a vehicle, and for as long as you're facing in the direction of that compass where it's got the pinpoint centerpiece mark, then you will be going to that location. So the marking and movement system is spectacular. Of course, this has to be copied as well for this battle royale in Fortnite. The same thing applies once again. You can open up the map and you can see the full map and you can say, hey, I'm going here, and you also then once again have the system of, look, I can call out this area and I can call out that area. At the moment, it's not that applicable in Fortnite because you are playing solo, but as of the 26th of September 2017, there will be team modes, and this will become way more effective and just as effective as the one in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. There is, of course, a fight to the death. That is battle royale at its simplest. You fight and fight and fight to the end, and you will then be crowned first place. When you're crowned first place in PlayerUnknown, you're given some extra BP points, which then goes towards buying cosmetics, and you're then given a win for the leaderboard, and then you're also gifted a chicken dinner. Everybody's after the chicken dinner. Now, they didn't copy that in Fortnite, thankfully, because that was a very unique thing to PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Instead, with Fortnite, I've heard many tales that you get different items for the win, like magical umbrellas, so that your glider changes to an umbrella when you come into the map, and other little bits and bobs, but I won't go too much into that. You can discover that for yourself when you win. The concept is that you're rewarded for the win, and only one person or one team will be able to win in both games. That is ultimately Battle Royale, so of course that was going to be exactly the same. Overall, cross-comparing both the games, there are so many different similarities, but the one thing that makes both games very different is that in Fortnite it keeps this aspect of building. You can build and craft and destroy, and you can build forts with your friends, etc. in the multiplayer itself. So if you want to, you can get to the centerpiece, take a good guess, build a massive fort and use this to your advantage. You can build massive roads up into the sky and sit there with a sniper if you wish. It's entirely up to you how you use this mechanism, but it only exists of course in Fortnite because PUBG is more realistic and Fortnite is more about creativity and building. I'm going to be playing both. Both are different. They feel different. They play slightly different. Yes, they cover the same concepts, but in a way, being a gamer, this is a cool thing because it means I can take the tactics I put in PlayerUnknown and bring them over to Fortnite. So it's exactly the same thing, but slightly different. So I love both just as much as one another. If I want to go more tactical and I know I want to go against something very strategic, I'll feel like I'm going to go to PUBG more than actual Fortnite. For Fortnite, I feel like I'm going to go there for a bit of a laugh with my mates on Xbox. So that's just the way I'll treat both games. I love both, but for different reasons. Let me know what your feelings and thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will speak to you there. My name's BETTER, also known as Martin Lee Wood. Like and comment on all that you love. Peace.